All right, dearly beloved, welcome to January 21st Magic Mind session. Today, I'm going to do a surprise workshop. Surprise, everybody! I feel like, given that it's January and the themes of all of our Magic Mind sessions so far have just been about creating the space and the intentions and imagining what we want to be creating in our future. And one of the biggest parts about creating our future is making sure that we schedule in the pieces that are most important. As you all know, as you all also have, I got a shit ton of shit on the go every single day. It's crazy. My 6.5, 7 hour work days are kind of insane. And I can guarantee I would not be able to juggle multiple businesses and teams and family and my passions and all the things if I did not have a really disciplined approach with my scheduling. And so I led this workshop last year called Schedule Your Success. And it wasn't on the docket to lead this year, but I was like, shit, we can't go into February without addressing this dire need for everybody to claim their time, attention, and focus for the year ahead and to get themselves organized so that as you're mapping out your plan, you can figure out exactly how to execute that plan. And for me, where I execute, it all starts in my calendar. Because when we get realistic about how much time we actually have available to do the work that we're here to do, we can start to block off the chunks that we know we need to devote. So, for example, the thing that I know every single person is going to resist is time to actually reach out and try to get your signature workshop and find partners to host you and all the things. It's not the funnest part about being an entrepreneur, trust me. But it's one of the most important parts about being an entrepreneur, and it's the thing you're going to resist. And so, today in this process, that'll be one of the many things that you're going to look at and you're going to start to block off time. So if you have an online calendar, open your online calendar now because you will be getting to it in a little bit. And I'm going to go through this as quick as possible. We're not going to, this part was a 2.5 hour workshop last year. And today I'm going to try and take 30 minutes to run through this to at least get it started. And then later today, you can go back to this and finish the job that we're starting. But I just want to get this started so that you have things going and you can start to block off your time. So, first off, my question for all of you is how many hours per week do you have devoted to working on your business? Write that number down. How many hours a week do you have devoted working business? Are you working 32 hours a week? Are you working 10 hours a week? I was doing a coaching session with a guy the other day, and he has 5 hours a week to work on his business. And he had all these lofty plans on what he wanted to fit into those 5 hours. And I was like, it's impossible. You're not going to fit all those things into your 5 hours a week that you have available. So let's just be realistic about what you could do and what the best use of your 5 hours are. And so whether you have 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours, whatever it is, write the number down because that's going to be an important piece of how you're blocking off your time. Um, I've been playing with time for 20 years as an entrepreneur, trying to find out when am I most effective, when am I most efficient with my work, when do I do certain things best, what day of the week do I feel best doing coaching versus creating versus writing, etc. And so for myself, this has been this like playing with time thing to figure out how I can bring the most of my focus into what I'm doing on the daily basis, which is what I want for all of you. And you are your own science experiment. You have your own rhythm. Some of you like to go to bed at 8 p.m. Others like to get up at 4 a.m. So finding out what rhythm and flow works for you is going to be really, really important for you to get the most out of your days. Um, so my intentions for this little mini workshop today is for you to schedule your success for 2025. Design rhythms and routines to maximize the good vibes that you're carrying throughout your days. Themify your days, which we'll get into on what themification means for your schedule and what that has to do with time blocking so you can get more shit done and feel less confused about what you need to do on any given day. And then creating a publishing, teaching, and marketing calendar. So obviously, that's why this was a 2.5 hour workshop last year. is this stuff takes time to map out. What are you doing for the next 12 months? But knowing that gives you purpose every single day when you show up to the office to do your work. Because ultimately, why are we entrepreneurs? We want to experience more freedom. And for me, having a disciplined approach to when I show up to do things and what I'm showing up in those schedules has allotted me a lot of freedom in my life. So, part of the dream life design map here is getting a clear look. You're going to take 60 seconds and you're going to write down as many things as you can think of that take your energy away from you, that pull your energy, that suck your soul out of your body. What are the things in your life that you find to be the most draining? And write all those things down. 60 seconds, go. All right. And while you're in that writing flow, we're going to go jump straight into the next question. What are the things that give you energy, that feed you, fill you up, that make your cup overfloweth so that that cuppeth can overfloweth into the world through all the works that you do, through all the thoughts you think, through all the words you speak? What gives you energy and feeds you? 60 seconds. All right. So you got a bit of a list. You could probably keep going. If you had 5 minutes, the list would keep going, but it's good to know. Now, circle the three on your energy taketh list that you would love to drop the soonest, the quickest. That it would be so nice if you could just say no to those, if you could pass them on, if you could break off that relationship. Circle the three. And how many hours a week do they take from you? Those things. And do the same thing. Circle your top three for things that give you energy. What are they? And how many hours a week do you devote to those? trick is as you're scheduling your success to see how you can strategically do less of the things that take your energy, delegate, let them go, say no to things, whatever it takes, and how can you factor in more things that feed you so that you have more energy, so that you're more magnetic, you're more of the you that you aspire to be. Okay, so next question, 60 seconds. What is freedom for you? Freedom's an interesting word. We all have our own picture, our own vision, our own definition of what freedom is, the freedom that we're seeking to experience through our lives, through our work on the daily basis. So, write out in 60 seconds, what is freedom? What does it feel like? What does it look like in terms of freedom for you? All right, with a clear vision for freedom in mind and heart, let's talk about your goals. So, for each of these, financial, creative pursuits, health or fitness, passion or hobbies, adventures you want to go on, or new skills that you would like to learn, you're going to take a few minutes this time to come up with one goal for the year, something that is tangible, it feels attainable, it feels like if you showed up every day and gave it all of your attention, your focus, your energy, your passion, your heart for the rest of this year, that it feels like something that you could realistically attain. So, for each of these categories, give yourself something that you're excited to work towards that will give you purpose in each of these categories. And write it in the I am, not the I hope or I wish or I want. It's the I am. All right. I'm sure you could keep working on those. You could get more specific and clear about each one of those. So let's move on to the next one. Um, Mapping rhythms. This is an important piece about consistency. This was one of the biggest lessons I learned back in the day when I was teaching, when I taught 500 workshops over the course of less than 3 years. The reason I did that is I was so freaking consistent. I would show up whether two people, 20 people, 50 people showed up. I was the anchor for my community. And when people felt that anchor, they knew it was solid. They could drop in once a month, they could come every week. And it just grew from there. So your audience, your newsletter, your writing, your YouTube, when you're posting, how you're posting, where you're posting, you want to create a rhythm because then there becomes less thought about what you're doing and when you're doing it. And your body kind of takes over, your brain takes over, the muse starts talking to you, but we got to commit to the rhythm. So, what is realistic for you? Starting with how many newsletters a month are you doing? Are you doing a weekly newsletter? Are you doing every 2 weeks? I would recommend more than once a month because the reason is the more you communicate with your people in their inbox, the more that relationship builds, the more value you provide. So if you're used to posting several thoughtful posts on social media per week, why not bring that love to your inbox where you actually have control and ownership over it? So that's something to think about. How many newsletters? How many coaching clients are you intending to have per week? Where's that blocked off in your schedule? When we get to the time blocking thing, let's just say your goal is 5 coaching clients a week. You block off the slots that you have available for coaching clients. And if those slots are not full with those 5 coaching clients, then you know what you do with that time. You market until the money's coming in and those spots are filled with clients, and then you can market less. But until that's happening, you block off those times and you show up to them. It's like, okay, what can I do? I need to market during those hours that you're not actually seeing clients that are devoted to clients. How many signature workshops are you going to teach this year? That's going to require putting in a bunch of time or hiring somebody to manage your tour, and then articles, videos, audio. So take a few minutes and just imagine your rhythms. These rhythms that are going to be the base for how you build your business. A number of paid workshops. These could be 2 hour workshops. These could be 5 hour, day long, 4 week, 8 week, whatever you're imagining. How many of those are you going to be leading this year? Big trainings, little trainings. All right. So when it comes to the rhythms, Tara said, I am touring my signature workshop every month and inviting amazing women to come work with me. And 100%. So here's the math that I've figured out after a couple years of doing this. You want to teach 20 workshops, you send 200 partnership outreach emails, 200 partners, which equals approximately, if you're sending out five per hour, which means the research involved in finding those five, researching who they are, what their messaging is, how that relates to your messaging, customizing that part of the email, and then sending it. You're looking at about five per hour that you can send realistically. So you're looking at 40 plus hours of admin time devoted to outreach and follow up to those people. That if they haven't gotten back to you within 30 days of your first email, you send them a follow up email saying, hey, I know you're busy. Just want to get this back to the top of your inbox. Are you interested in collaborating? So you're looking at 40 plus hours. Now, that sounds like a lot of time, but really it's not a lot of time if over the next, say, 20 weeks, you devoted just 2 or 3 hours to doing that outreach. And then all of a sudden that adds up and you've sent your 200 emails, you've booked your 20 workshops, and you're officially on tour. So it's all realistically when we block it off. Okay, so daily themes, this is a big thing for me. Um, when I'm not following my rhythm in the morning of waking up, stretching, going and hitting the gym or the golf course, it just I'm not the same human being. And so it's become so essential for me over the years of just like my morning routine is essential. Sundays are my sleep in day where I don't set the alarm. I'll sleep until it's time to get up. But everything else is like I'm pretty structured in my morning routine. So for you, what are the daily rhythms and themes? If you do go to the gym, what time of day? If you know you need a walk before you start working, how do you block that in to your life? So write down some of the daily rhythms and routines that are really important for you. And if you're just getting into a new rhythm, say hitting the gym, it's really hard at first. So don't block off 60 minutes, block off 30 minutes to get to the gym so that it's less intimidating and scary to get started. And eventually you just build up the stamina and no longer deal with the same resistance as when you're starting. So write out a couple things, take a minute. What are some of the really essential, important routines that you either have to have or you're going to start implementing starting tomorrow or today? Beautiful. Uh, Jeff, I love it. Your as far as the spiritual growth for you, presence practice, meditation, movement, gym or a walk, and time in nature. I mean, it's simple stuff. It's just a matter of making sure that we do it every day, and that just helps us get better and better. And what I find after years and years of just devoting to my personal practices is the more we do them, the more they become an essential part of us and the more time that becomes devoted to them. So it might start off with 30 minutes, it might grow to 60 minutes, 2 hours. I mean, ultimately what we're all working towards, I think, with the idea of freedom is that more and more moments in our life are devoted to the things that fill us up and feed us. Okay, so now we're going to get into themifying your days. So, this was an essential piece for me with especially in the last few years after launching Magic Kids. I used to be able to just like have coaching whenever coaching happened, have projects whenever projects happened. TJ, it was just like I could flow a lot more back in the day, but the last 3, 4 years have forced me to have to be strategic with theming my days. So what I mean by theming is have the same types of activities on specific days so that I'm not wearing 10 different hats in one day, which takes different parts of my brain to focus on the things that need to get done. So I'm not going to have days where I'm coaching other people around their business and trying to be strategic with my own or trying to be creative with writing a story for Magic Kids. Those two things are completely different parts of my brain. And so I keep them separate for different days of the week so that on the days that I want to be really, really creative, write the curriculum for a program or work on a story for Magic Kids or be in the studio here producing a new story, all those things happen strategically for me based on when I can optimize that part of my brain. And so Mondays now I no longer book coaching calls. It's all strategy, planning, delegation, administration. I have 3 or 4 30-minute team meetings with my core team, and the rest of the day, I don't book anything if I can help it because I need to stay so focused on like what is the game plan? How can I delegate? What am I doing today this week? What's my priorities? And then I get all of the balls rolling. Last year, I did allow one coaching session per week, and I would feel anxious going into that coaching session every week with one of our clients because it didn't feel like I was fully prepared, and it felt like I actually needed my head in my own business, not somebody else's business. So that's my Mondays, and then I create a rough routine. My work days are usually 6 to 7 hours. Tuesdays are my short day now. I work 6 hours on Tuesdays. And then Tuesdays now, I have my coaching. I do coaching for like the Magic Mind. We got 2 hours. It's my flex day. It's my be creative day. I can book interviews. I can do interviews. I can teach workshops, whatever it is. Or sorry, yeah. So it's coaching and marketing. I can be creative. Wednesdays, my Wednesday time, my calendar is wide open for people to get in. So I do a lot of the um, interviews, signature workshops happen, meetings happen for partnerships and relationships. If there's space, I do the creative work, but I have a creative chunk blocked off on both Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Just a 2 hour block where it's like whatever needs to get done, it's guaranteed that I have the time to do that. And Thursdays is a similar kind of thing. Thursdays are a teaching, coaching, projects day for me. And if there's a project that I know needs to get done, let's just say I have a deadline or I'm doing a launch. I'm about to make the announcement on Thursday this week for the business of meditation training I'm launching in May. And so last week I blocked off about 8 hours of time to work on the landing page, the marketing materials, the shopping carts, the video that had to happen, and and my marketing strategy for it. I have a really cool marketing strategy for this program where we're going to be pitching to a whole bunch of schools to license this program. So I'm hoping I have some really fun case studies and new templates around licensing big programs to schools and organizations coming up. So just keep that on the back burner for y'all. And then Fridays are Magic Kids. So I do production, story writing, etc. We have a writer's room for 3 hours. And that's that. And then Saturdays are my day to do dad ventures. I get the morning till 10 a.m. to myself. And then Sundays, we typically don't leave the house. So that's how I've themed my days. There's specific purposes and hats that I wear on each specific day. And I find that helps me incredibly. And then I can block off my Calendly link that it only allows certain times of the day for clients to book me meetings, interviews, etc., so that that doesn't mess with my flow and rhythms and actually being in the business, working on the things that make me the money or that serve the people that I'm trying to serve. So that's my themes. You're going to take, oh, wait. Um, and then we break it down into tasks. So if you're, this is going to be the next exercise is just looking at the 7 days of the weeks and what themes could you apply to them. So for example, if you have days that you're coaching or that you're teaching or days that you want to be writing your newsletter, which Monday I typically get my newsletters set up from the previous week of these sessions. So how can you themify your days and give, it could be 3 or 4 different types of hats that you wear in a day, but it's not 10. And be realistic with how many hours you have to actually work on your business. That way, on days that you're working on your business, you're working on your business, but days that you want to be with your family or you want to just do the things that you enjoy, that you're fully doing those things. You're not trying to splice yourself and have two different levels of thought and energy going. So take take a few minutes and just see what you can come up with if it's any different from what you're already doing to themify the day to have more focus on where you need it on all these days. All right, so obviously this is meant to just be a first draft of your themification. Uh, you're probably going to want to spend an extra hour today or tomorrow while this is fresh and inspired to finish this whole process of all the questions we've gone through. In the Magic Mind, I'm going to post all these slides that I've been showing so that you can just run through them again. But the next thing is this is how I time block myself, and this is generalized. It could be different. You could have, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or however, but looking at your calendar with these time blocks, so from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., what sort of activities do you do? Or from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. Whenever you wake up to when you start work, what happens for those first 3 hours of work? What happens? Do you take breaks to stretch? Do you go for a walk in the middle of your workday? So once you've themified the days, then you can block off times. And a part of the time blocking is the signature workshop example. If you know you need to do 2 to 3 hours of signature workshop outreach, which was the day that you themed in marketing and outreach, and what is the time that you can commit to on that particular day to send those emails? I don't recommend outreach on a Friday. The reason is people don't plan their future on a Friday, they plan their weekend. And so you're better off to plan your outreach on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday to get it in their inbox while they're still working their work week. Versus if you send it on a Friday, the whole weekend goes by, they get back on a Monday, they're trying to do all their planning for the week, and you just get buried. So it's better to do it at the beginning, the first half of the week. So all those important things with your newsletter. When do you time block your newsletter? Which day did you theme doing creative writing or production and scheduling your newsletters? What day was that themed in there? How many hours does it take you to do a newsletter? Block that time off so that you just know it's there, it's being done every week. When are you coaching? What are the hours that you have available that you could set up in your calendar booking system that are available for coaching? Make sense, everybody? So just take a few minutes and see if you can go into your calendar right now and block off a few of the guaranteed time blocks that you have to have scheduled where you can show up to them. It's like, I know exactly what I'm doing for this 2 hour block of time. I'm working on my newsletter, I'm writing an article, or I'm doing my outreach. So see how many of those blocks you can get in there as a consistent rhythm that happens every week. And take a few minutes for that. All right. We get a few blocks off, a few things that you know you can look forward to every week, or the things that you won't look forward to, but you know you'll get done. So these are the things that you need to fit into your schedule. We're not going to take time for these right now. These are the things that when I make this post later on the Magic Mind, you can come back to is when do you write, record, do podcasts, host events, do your social media, schedule it, schedule the time to create the content so that hopefully you could be more of a ghost and post social media person than the kind that gets sucked in and scrolls endlessly for hours. When do you coach and teach people? Your one-to-one sessions, group sessions, classes, workshops, webinars or interviews, courses. The thing is like we as creators have to be the ones to create the momentum for ourselves to step into. It's not a field of dreams. If I build my website, they will come. We have to be the ones to block off the schedule so that when people come to our website, they see it's like, holy shit, you have 24 workshops scheduled for this year? You've got like all these things coming up. You got these regular rhythms that you're serving. When people can see that in you and your work that you're doing, it builds confidence in your ability to show up and serve them. It's impressive when people can show up and be like, "Wow, you're really active in this. You must be doing something right." So, the more you can plan these things and block off the times, the better. And you don't have to do giant trainings all the time. Doing a 2 hour workshop or a 3 hour workshop is totally great for experimenting with new ideas. You can make some money, get paid to try out new ideas to see how responsive your audience is. So for all of these things that you're going to be blocking off, whether it's booking you to do your signature workshop for somebody, you should have a calendar booking link that when somebody says, I want to book you, great, here's the link to get booked in. For your coaching sessions, you should have a link. Great, here's the link. Book a coaching section. For if you're doing like 15-minute laser focused coaching sessions like I do, you should have that link ready to go anytime. For podcast interviews, hey, do you want to come on my podcast? Yes, I do. Great, here's the link. Come on my podcast, book a time. All these things should have booking links, so it's really easy. And those times are only available in the times that you've themed and allotted for those things to happen. And trust me, most people, even if it's inconvenient to them, will book the time. They'll rearrange their schedule to book in there. And if they don't, they're like, "Hey, I'm in Europe. This doesn't work. This is the middle of the night for me." Then you do the manual thing, but you should have all these calendar booking links ready to rock and roll. So I would suggest just spend 30 minutes. If you don't have all the essential booking links set up, get that in process because that saves you so much administration time every single time somebody wants to book a meeting with you. Um, the other things that you're going to want to time block is your marketing calendar. So when do you network? How do you network? When do you book coffee meetings or intro meetings with people you're interested in partnering with in some capacity, creative collaborations, etc. Reaching out to apps if you're selling a meditation library. When do you actually do that outreach and follow up? Your publishing calendar. When do things go live? I'm usually twice a week, either Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Thursday. I don't usually send stuff out on the weekends unless it's wrapping up a launch or it's something that I feel would be a really good fit for somebody's weekend. Um, your community calendar. So let's just say you run a membership. What happens in the membership? What are those regular rhythms that happen? I try to schedule a Monday post on Mondays. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. There's always something going on inside the community space. And then I block off times to go in and offer feedback, especially during trainings when there's a lot of people in there and I have a lot of feedback to give and a lot of things to read. So if you have a membership, you need to figure out what your rhythm looks like and when in your calendar you devote to showing up to that community space. And then obviously the most important is the lifestyle. When do you fill your cup? When is family time, friends time? Do you have days of the week where you plan dinners with friends? All these pieces, the calendar can be flexible, but having these anchor points creates less needing to think about what you're doing and you can just show up to the moment. And if you need to cancel something or rearrange things, you can. But having these rhythms and routines and rituals in your life builds power and momentum over time. Okay. That is the mini workshop that I surprised you with today. Hopefully, that was beneficial for all of you to get your shit together so that you can fly forward up the mountain you're climbing this year. I recommend right now, in this moment, block off 60 minutes to finish this. So put it in your calendar that you were just in a moment ago. Block off 60 minutes, finish the questions. If you didn't feel like you completed all the answers for any of them, block that off. And then happy to dive in if anybody has any questions, thoughts, comments. If any parts didn't make sense to you, let me know. We'll discuss that now. And for any people that might be watching this on YouTube or as a podcast, join the Magic Mind. It's fun. The end.